This is the second lesson in the Year 7 unit, Introduction to HTML. Now what we'll have a look at is a quick reminder of what HTML is, and then hopefully we'll be able to learn how to write a basic web page with a range of different formatting skills to make our text look a little bit more professional. Okay, so here we are in our HTML editor, and on the left you can see our HTML code, and on the right you can see what the web page would look like. Now, just a quick reminder from last lesson, remember that HTML is made up of tags, and a lot of tags come in pairs. Now, the head tag often has background information about the web page, so metadata, and the body tag is where we would put our content, so it might be our text and our images that we want to display on the web page. Now, one thing to note is that inside the head tag we've got a title tag here. Now, we're quite used to titles being text that's like big and bold that goes at the top of a page, for example. But when we're talking about titles in HTML, we're talking about the text that would appear in the tab at the top of the page. Now, page title, if this was a proper web page and we were to display this page in a browser, then one of the tabs at the top of this page would have page title displayed. Now, in our body, we've got two tags in use. We've got a heading tag, and you can see that this is what is produced. This is a heading, it's big and bold. And we've also got these P tags, these paragraph tags. Now, a paragraph tag really does what you would expect it to do. It contains paragraphs. So if I were to perhaps open up another paragraph tag and say this is another paragraph, like so, and I was to run that code, you can see that the text is underneath, but there's a gap because it is a new paragraph, therefore formatted perfectly as you would expect a paragraph to be formatted. Now, with these paragraph tags, what you can also do is you can add different properties. One of the properties that you can add to a paragraph tag is the align property. So I could go align equals, and then I could write down center. And if I run this code, you can see that this particular paragraph has now been aligned to the center of the page. Notice the spelling, it's the American spelling of center. Now, if I wanted to, I could add the align property to the next paragraph tag, and this time I could perhaps say that I want it aligned to the right, and if I run that code you can see that the text is now aligned to the right hand side. So that's a paragraph tag, and we can change the alignment using the alignment property. Now, another thing that we can have a look at doing is to format our text is use the font tag. Now, the font tag comes in pairs and surrounds text. Here is some text to format. Now, if I was to run that code, you can see that the text is just underneath and it doesn't look any different from what we would expect. But what we can do is we could add some properties to our font tag. For example, I could change the size. So I could go font space and then use the property size, and I could write in the number 10. And you can see that that text is now much larger. Another thing that we can do, another property that we can add, is the color property. Again, notice the spelling. Now, if I was to perhaps type red for the color, you can see that the text is now turned to red. And the other thing that we can do with our font tag is we can change the look of the text. Now, we use that by using the property face, font face. Now, let's say that I wanted to change the font to Century Gothic. I could go face equals, and then in my speech marks, Century Gothic. If I run that code, you can see that the text has now changed to a different font. And if you wanted to choose different fonts other than the standard or Century Gothic as I've shown, if you went into perhaps Microsoft Word, you would be able to look at all the different names of fonts that are installed on your computer, and you could choose one of those fonts to change the look of your text in your web page. So that was a very quick whistle-stop tour of formatting techniques in HTML. Remember, p tags are paragraph tags, and you can align paragraphs in different ways. And font tags have the property size, color, and face, where you can change the look of text. Now, you don't have to use all of these these properties. For example, if I was to delete the size and the color, you can see that it is still in the correct font of Century Gothic, and I could add any combination of those properties. What's more is that I could, of course, if I wanted this particular text to be centered, I could surround this with its own paragraph tag, and I could type align equals center. Let's put the speech mark in the right place. And then I could obviously use my closing paragraph tag, very important. So you can see that I've got a font tag which is sandwiched inside two paragraph tags, or an opening and closing paragraph tag. If I run that code now, you can see that that text has indeed gone to the center. And if I wanted to put the other properties back, you can see that all of those different changes have been applied.